Hello and welcome to the Collector's Corner. I hope you had a great holiday of your choosing, and I am here to show you my Christmas and then some haul of 2016. So basically, a quick heads up, I made this video about 6 times already. Every single time, like right after I did it, something would either happen, one of my cats would cause a disaster, or I would go out and somebody would say, oh, hey, we forgot we had this present for you. Here you go. And I'm like, oh, I should have put that in the video. This is the last time I'm going to film this video. I don't care how long it goes. This is the last day of 2016. So unless somebody is throwing stuff through my window, there won't be anything else that's new. Not that I wouldn't, I wouldn't mind getting some more stuff, but So I'm going to start off. This way is all the things I was given. This way is all the things that I bought. Up to here. So we're going to start with the things that I was given, starting with this wonderful piece of paper. This is the JFJ Easy Pro CD resurfacing machine. It looks like that. Now, it was big-ish and heavy-ish and a big mess to hold in front of the camera. So I decided I'll take the manual and I will show you what it looks like. Once again, there it is, all fancy and whatnot. And I will show you that instead. So much easier. I have yet to use this. I haven't had time. I've been working or going to more Christmas things, and I've seen this in action. I was in Savannah, Georgia, and there was a store. They showed me a disc. They put it in the machine. Took it out of the machine. The thing looked new. I mean, it wasn't like you took a machete to it or anything beforehand, but it was pretty scratched up. Put it in the machine, and yeah, I could say it didn't take out every single thing. Nothing is ever going to take out every single thing unless you completely take a layer off or remelt the disc or just throw it in the garbage and buy another one. So this is as close as you're ever going to get without paying like $3,000 for a machine. And it's good enough for me. For what I need it for, the few games that need resurfacing that cost a good amount of money that I don't want to buy again. Moving on from that, some more gaming related things that I have here. A couple of games. I have Pokemon Moon. And I got Moon over Sun because I like this character much better. And besides that one, I also got an Xbox One game. This is Forza Horizon 3. I definitely want that Blizzard Mountain Pack. It's only $20 to add on to this. And I also would love to have one of those racing wheels to play it. Definitely enhances the experience. Now, that's it for physical games that I was given. We're going into gaming-related items besides the resurfacer. I got some figures. Things like Boo and Bullet Bill and Goomba and a Piranha Plant. I don't see these very often. This is very interesting. Now, the person that got me these, they were concerned, he's a shy guy, he's a bigger shy guy, that I wouldn't particularly like the side characters. But to be honest with you, I prefer the side characters over things like Tanuki Suit Mario. Even though I like this character quite a bit, I don't have this specific Mario. But that's where I'm getting into. I have 50,000 Marios. I have tons of, the main characters, but you never see so many of the little characters like Shy Guy and all that. And personally, I'd rather have one of each character over 50 different variations of the same one. Not that I'm complaining. These are very well made. It just says 30th anniversary. It doesn't seem to be connected to any specific game that I can tell, but they're very nice. It also shows on the back, I don't know if you can see, they had a Samus character and a Link character, which I don't think I've ever seen a Samus character just randomly in the store, besides an amiibo. Amiibos don't count. Amiibos, there's everybody, but actual, specifically designed figures outside the use of in-game, they don't see that very often. Moving on from games into the world of movies, I got the second Hobbit movie. Now, I had the first one. This is the second one. I never saw this one. I never saw the third one. Saw the first one in theaters. Saw the Lord of the Rings, all three of them, long time ago. And I want to do a marathon of 3 Hobbits, 3 Lord of the Rings. I have both the extended versions and the original theatrical versions on Blu-ray for the original Lord of the Rings. And I have now 2 of these, so I got to get the third one, do a big marathon. It's going to take me about 10 years, but that's besides the point. The other thing is kind of a cross between music and movies. This is The Beatles with Tony Sheridan. Now, it does say it has 2 hours, 17 minutes of video and 48 minutes of music. It definitely shows that it has more than one disc in here. Let's see if I can get it without a glare as best I can. It's still in the plastic. I haven't yet to open these. Like I said, I haven't had time to play anything really except for like one game so far from this stack over here. But this is definitely interesting. I thought I knew all the Beatles stuff, but I don't know some of these songs that they did here. It's probably because they did them with Tony Sheridan. For example, the song Ready Teddy. I know that Lennon did it in his solo career. I'm pretty sure McCartney did it in his solo career. Never knew they did it together. Very interesting. Moving on, before I go to music, because the music is most of what's left here, I did get a book. This is the only relevant book I want to show you. I did get more things than what are out here, but a lot of it is more personal items. And I mean, unless you want to really focus on my mixer that I got, it's a nice mixer, but I didn't think you wanted to see it. But if you do, I'll make a follow-up video to this, and I will show you how that mixer works. But the book that I got is Jeremy Clarkson's book called The World According to Clarkson. Now, he has had about a dozen books, I think. Quite a few. They're all on Amazon. And I could have got the Kindle version and all that, but I always like having physical books. I have a thing about reading on a screen. I have I feel like I can, only focus so long on paper. When it comes to a screen, I'm like, oh, that's great. Oh, how about this thing over here? And I'm lost. So I would love to have the paperbacks, even though they are a little more expensive. But it's, something you can hold instead. Moving on to the music aspect of this, there is one vinyl record. Let's see if you know who this is. Some of you might, some of you might not. It is the Wings, Paul McCartney and Wings. This is Wildlife. This was the first Wings album that they've ever done. It was produced in 1971. This was after Paul McCartney's Ram. And for the most of the album was just more of a jam session. The band just got together. They went into a studio. They recorded most of these 8 tracks. Except for the song Tomorrow, which is the 7th track. If you want to see the tracks right there. I do believe that one was recorded more likely during Ram, just because of the sound of it. It sounds more like a Ram song. Moving on from there, I did get some cassette tapes. I do collect every kind of music, every kind of movie, every kind of game, so I don't really judge based on what they're on. The first one is the Ink Spot's Greatest Hits. Now, this is a band from the 1930s and 40s. They were in Fallout 3. They had the song I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire. And on here, Into Each Life, Some Rain Must Fall. That's also from that movie. Or movie, yeah, sure. From that game. And now, bands from this time period, they didn't really have albums. They more or less released a bunch of singles, and then they would make a compilation. So, bands like that, I don't mind having a compilation. Other bands, I'd rather not. I also got Journey Departure, which has Any Way You Want It. I don't know if this is a compilation or not. I don't really know a whole heck of a lot about Journey. They're not my top-end band. They're more of like, yeah, I like them, and I recognize the song. It was given to me for free. I'm not going to complain about that. Moving on from there, I got 2 kind of related to each other. I got Simon and Garfunkel's Bridge Over Troubled Waters. Now, I know I own this on vinyl. I might even have 2 copies on vinyl, to be honest with you. And it's always great to have this as many times as you possibly can. This is one of the greatest albums ever. Especially my favorite from Simon and Garfunkel. Which is saying a lot because I like all their music. Even, once again, they're not my top favorite band, but they're up there pretty far. Then I have Paul Simon's solo album, Graceland. I've never really listened to his solo career, but I liked Simon and Garfunkel, and I'm pretty sure I'll enjoy this. So the last section of music can't be really shown off unless I show off what's under the curtain. Curtain number 2 over here. It's really big, so I put it on a stand. And there it is. This is, for what you can see, this is an 8-track player. Now, for those of you that don't know, I will show you an 8-track here. This is the golden age of rock and roll. It's it's like a collection of just random rock and roll tracks. I think Elvis is on here and some other people. Shake, Rattle, and Roll is a song on here. A bunch of stuff from late 50s, early 60s. And basically, this is a giant version of this, except not as great. Basically, the way this works is it's got 4 different sectors on tape where it kind of moves the playhead around until it finds, your track. And there's a total of 8 tracks. The way it works, there's 4 programs, each one's in stereo, so you have 8 tracks technically, even though there's really only 4. It just gets shoved into this machine like this. This one doesn't even have a power switch. When you put it in, it turns on. This is just to change which program you're on, which program is basically almost like which side of the record you're on, except it's which section of the tape. It's a very complicated setup, and honestly, I don't understand why they went with this before they went with this, because this is basically a reel-to-reel, but tiny. This is a convoluted mess, and because of it being a convoluted mess, a lot of them don't survive. And case in point, I got 4 of these. 3 of them survived pretty well. This one, I don't even know. There's no real label on this. It's just a collection of music. I don't know if you can even read it. It's kind of messed up. These were old family ones that were laying around. The only ones we have left. It's got like Bette Midler's on here. I believe it's a lot of, the old like big band kind of Sinatra-y stuff. Then we have the Charlie Daniels Band. This is actually a great album. You can't even see what it is. I don't know why I'm even showing it to you because it's so dilapidated. It's a really good album. I never really listened to him much more than The Devil Went Down to Georgia, but this is a great album, and it works. These 3 work. The one that didn't work is part 2 to the Beatles Blue Album 1967 to 1970 compilation greatest hits pack. And this is the second half because it was a two album vinyl, so this would have been a 2 cartridge 8-track. They call them cartridges. This one has the unfortunate plague of not having enough tension anymore. Basically, over time, the way this works is the tape is twisted inside and it pulls on itself so it can maintain the right position. When it gets stretched out, they tend to start to move, they start to sound a little wavy, and then they'll start to actually play 2 songs at the same time. And this does all of the above at the same time. Unless you put it in and you pull on it just slightly, and it pulls on the tension of the tape and it works. But who wants to sit there holding their music while it's playing, I'll have to open it up and see if I can repair it. I believe you can. I believe it's a lot of work. But it's a Beatles album, so it's worth a little time. So the last thing I got, this is kind of movie related. It's kind of not really related to much of anything. This is a straight edge razor. But it's not just any straight edge razor. This is the one from Sweeney Todd. I guess this could have went with my movie stuff. I wanted to actually use it. I know you don't just go like this, you're going to chop your face off, all that kind of stuff. I want to try it out. I just want to see if I can get it to work. And if I don't chop my face in half, then I'll get me one to use on a daily basis. And probably keep this more as a prop, just because it's a little more fancy than the basic ones. I did kind of try it once, but I don't have the little strap, the leather strap where you're supposed to sharpen it. And if you don't have that, it'll go dull really fast, and it wasn't really sharp enough to start with. So I did like a tiny little area, and it's like, no, I'm gonna forget it. I'll use a regular one until I can take care of this. So I don't even know if it works properly or not, because I don't want to chop my face in half. But that's it. That's the stuff I was given. Now we're going to the stuff that I got. Half of this came from a Goodwill, or 2 Goodwills. And the rest of it came from GameStop. Now, I'm not a fan of GameStop, but they have buy 2, get 1 free sales. And when they do that, I can't even resist. You know, I wish I could, but I can't. So let's start with some stuff that came from Goodwill. Now, I'm not very picky when it comes to games. I like collecting systems. I like collecting all kinds of stuff you don't normally see. And I picked up myself something even came in the case. This is the Mobigo 2. And I know you're thinking, what the heck is that? This is a little child's console. And the only reason that I consider it a console, to me, a console is anything that has interchangeable games, either by cartridge, by disc, by floppy, by tape, whatever app, doesn't matter. This is a console to me. I was like, yeah, it's only a couple dollars. Give it a shot, see how it is. Get it home, put in my game that I got. I'll show you that in a minute. There's a couple games built in. There's like Hamster Highway and Shooting Gallery. I went to change my name in the console because it had the previous kid's name. And it said, you know, type it in on the keyboard. And I was like, wow, they sold a keyboard for this. That's pretty impressive. I knew you can plug it into a computer. It's like, does it have to be in a computer? Is this like an extension for a computer? And I looked up some pictures, and all of a sudden I saw a little thing that I didn't know existed. If you push on it, it moves open. And then there's a full-fledged keyboard right there. And that, I was like, well, didn't even know about that until I got it home. You know, typically I would have looked to see if it was full of, you know, nastiness since it came from a child. But it's not. It's in pretty good shape. It has a touch screen on it. It's, you know, regular single-point touch screen. It's nothing fancy. It has a microphone. It has a place for headphones. Has the USB inputs, got a big old speaker. It's kind of set up like a Game Gear where it's got 2 sides for batteries. But I mean, this thing, it actually is fun. Not so much the game that I bought, but the Hamster Highway game's pretty fun. The Shooting Gallery game's kind of like, what is it, Typing of the Dead on the Dreamcast, where you type out words and it shoots. But this is the game that I bought with it. This is called Mr. Men, Little Miss Adventures in Dillydale. Now, I have never seen the show. I've never heard of it. It's a game for kids 3 to 5 years old. And the only reason I got it is like, this box is not just a regular DVD case. Look at that. It's curved and everything. It's all special. And when you open it up, they put in some effort in here. There's a full color manual. It's got its own special cartridge shape. You know, this is very specific to itself. It's like, you know, that's great. This is actually pretty impressive. And I'm moving along. It's like, yeah, Goodwill's always the place I find these random kids consoles. I found a V-Smile and a whole stack of games. Some of them never even opened for a few dollars. And now I found this. And I kept going. And there's other entertainment or edutainment consoles from a company called Leapfrog. These are all Vtec. And there's one, Leapfrog. They've been around for, since '99, I think it was their first adventure into the games. And Leapfrog has one called, from what I can tell, the Digi. Or the Digi. I really don't know. I don't know how to say this. But it's not so much about the console, because I don't even have the console. I have to find me one. It's the game itself. I couldn't believe when I pulled this out and I saw Sonic the Hedgehog on the unpronounceable right here. So, I don't have the unpronounceable, but if I can find me one, I'll be glad to try this out. And once again, this is a custom case. You know, it's not curved or anything. But you open it up. It's got a black and white manual, but a bigger one. Sporting the unpronounceable right there. And it's got its own cartridge shape. These are impossible to take out, so I'm not even going to bother. But it's from what I can tell, similar to like a Lynx cartridge, how the backing is kind of exposed for the contact points. But that's not a big deal. From what I can tell, it's basically like a full-fledged Sonic game, but with a little bit of spelling thrown into it. And I was surprised. And I can't wait to find me the Jijibiji and actually try it out and see how it is. Now, moving on from edutainment, getting into Realtainment, and Goodwill surprises me once in a while, but not with just this kind of stuff. But randomly they'll get in old stuff. Not very often, but sometimes. And they had Intellivision games. Now, my Goodwills are very corporatized. They're kind of not the best. I've been to other Goodwills, other places. They have so much better stuff. And typically their stuff is overpriced out of mine. So, they had two, and I bought one. I got, is this upside down? Yes. Beauty and the Beast on the Intellivision. Now, if you can see the picture, it kind of looks like a King Kong situation where the guy's on the building, you know, taking a hostage. I'm pretty sure that wasn't in the Disney movie. And it doesn't even really mention Disney on here. It's made by iMagic. I don't know if that was related to Disney or not. The other game they had was poker and blackjack in one cartridge. But for the price, they were $5, unfortunately. This was worth it. You can't really get this for anything less than $5, even on eBay. Blackjack and poker, you can get that in the box, you know, for $5. And I was like, I'll wait on that. If I ever really want it, I'll get it in the box. So moving on from the wonderful thing that is Intellivision, they had an original Game Boy game. I don't know if you can see it in this box. I'll try to hold it like this. It's called, if I can pronounce this, Cyrade. I haven't played it yet, but from what I can tell, it's a puzzle. Yeah, puzzle. It's a puzzler, and you're platforming, and you're supposed to be going after some magical beast, and you can either be a wizard or a warrior. Apparently, it don't make a difference which one you pick. The graphics looked a lot like Super Mario Land, which is what really caught my eye. I don't know. Okay, it's made by Nextsoft, not Nintendo. It is a. Okay, I thought that was gonna say Game Link. I thought it said Super Game Boy, but it's Game Link. So I guess this is 2-player. And I've never seen it before. I only paid a couple dollars for it. Apparently, it goes for more like between $7 and $10. So that was a good deal. Moving on to Game Boy Advance, they had Eggmania. Now, I didn't get to play this one, so I can tell you about it. Eggmania is not really a Tetris game. It's similar to Tetris in that you have blocks, but you are an egg guy, hence the name Eggmania. And little squares come down. They have pictures of blocks. You can either choose to use them or you can pass them up. So what you do, you find the ones you want, you can rotate them, and then you throw them down as your character, and you build the platform up. You're trying to make it to the hot air balloon to escape. Now, the thing about it is you can't just make a straight-up pylon and go straight up to the air balloon. You can try that in the first round, and you can do it. But after that, there's a little mechanic to this game where if your level, like your area, isn't full as you're going up, it'll become unstable and it'll collapse all the way back down. It's really fun for a little simple game, because I know the Game Boy Advance has some great treasures and it has a lot of garbage. This is one of the great treasures. If you see it, it's not expensive. Find it, pick it up. Then we're going over to the GameStop games. Actually, there's some other stuff mixed in here, but at this point, I might as well just go through them in order. I got Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon on the 3DS. Played the original one back in the day and loved it. I had to go and get that one. Got some PS4 stuff. Got No Man's Sky, a lot cheaper than what, it's not full $60. It's worth what I paid. I actually enjoy this. I have a video coming out about that very soon, right after this one. Then I got The Last of Us Remastered. They're making a second one. I had to play through this one. It's incredible. It's Naughty Dog. What do you expect? And the last one is Stick It to the Man. Now, this is an indie title. They got a physical release. And the thing that makes this funny to me is it has a manual. Only the indie titles will ever have a manual. Moving on, I got one Wii U game, Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker. I love the levels from Mario 3D World. Got a bunch of Wii stuff here. I got actually 5 Wii games. I got the original Skylanders because I had the sequel, and this is the one that I remember playing when it came out and actually enjoyed, so I had to get that one. Mercury Meltdown Revolution, this came from Goodwill. It's kind of like a Marble Madness. I don't know if you can see the pictures there. Not too sure about that one, but I might as well pick it up. And then I started finding, like Wii Sports Resort and Wii Play for a couple of bucks. And, Wii Sports Resort still is like $25 at GameStop. So it was worth getting it for a couple of bucks at Goodwill. The last one, unfortunately, it's in a GameStop case. It's BitTrip Complete. I didn't know BitTrip Runner had a disc version of the games, and it actually came with the soundtrack. So I'm excited to listen to that and play the full experience there. The last thing I got was a movie called Willow. And weirdly enough, it was a couple of dollars. Apparently this isn't on anything. You can't stream it anywhere. And this movie is apparently worth like $20 used minimum and like $50 new if you can find it. I guess they had like a limited run of this. I don't know. It's a George Lucas movie with Warwick Davis. And that combination just sounded like a great time, so I had to get it. And that's it. Believe it or not, that's it. This little video went on long enough, and I hope you enjoyed. If I get enough stuff in January, I'll make another one. Probably won't be anywhere near like this, so I might have to do like months combined together or something like that. But anyway, if you enjoyed, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.